Welcome to MoMA, Douglas, or should I say, I guess welcome back to MoMA. You were in an exhibition here in 1979, the Arthur Drexler's Transformation in Modern Architecture exhibition. And so in many ways, I like to think about your career as itself thinking about transformations. Your work has been about the transformation of your knowledge of modern architecture into a new Indigenous architecture. A new philosophy of architecture based on an Indigenous worldview. You studied at the University of British Columbia, University of Texas in Austin. You went to Taliesin to meet with Frank Lloyd Wright. You studied with Richard Neutra. And it was only after that, and returning back to Alberta in 1964, that you really started to ask a question to yourself, what is Indigenous architecture, right? A question that has led you to design some of the most incredibly iconic structures like the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Indian, the Canadian Museum of History, and St. Mary's Church, which we see on the screen right now. I'm wondering, can you walk us through a little bit about how you got interested in finding out more about your Blackfoot roots, about your Anishinaabe heritage through architecture?
Yes. I had to leave Canada because they felt I didn't have the family background to be a royal architect. So I said, see you, and I pointed to Car South and went as far south as somebody would want me to work with them. And it was in Texas at the university that they said, we would like to train you, and we'd like to give you that opportunity of studying at our university. But I felt I had to take not only architecture, but anthropology and sociology and learn more about people and their needs and just listen, you know. And I listened to people there, and they were involved with racism as well, with the human rights issue. And so I wanted to listen to how they would solve their problems that we had. Same problems in Canada, racism. And so I joined the Civil Rights Union, and I learned a lot. You have to listen to people, and you have to serve people in general, but you have to listen to their needs. You can't get it out of a book. You have to go to the communities and sit down and really listen to the people and bring their visions into reality.
So this is the early 60s and the Indian power movement, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that and how this helped, bring about your awakening of your interest in Indigenous roots.
Well, it started by me doing my first building, a major building, which was a church. I was concerned about the church. I was brought up in the church, as most Native kids were, and we, the Canadian government didn't want us to know anything about our culture, our language, our history, or anything. They wanted to start reprogramming us to be British subjects, and so I was sent to residential school, actually a convent, because they wanted me to be a really good Catholic. And so that I would be able to save my mother's soul, who was Catholic. And because she would go to hell being married to a savage like my father, who was actually from Blackfoot heritage. And he was part of the Good Striker clan. My grandmother, Good Striker, was the head of the clan. And we come from a culture that's more matriarchal, where the women actually are the leaders, the communities, and the clan mothers. So you listen to the clan mothers, and you serve the women. It's the other way around. It's upside down in our culture, where the women are supposed to serve the men.
So ironically, it was working on a Catholic church that brought you closer to your Blackfoot roots.
Yeah, actually it was, because it taught me to understand that like we're sacred creatures as human beings, and we owe our lives to the Creator, and therefore we have to honor the Creator and use the gift of knowledge and the gift of creativity to bring together a better society, one about loving and caring, one about not only loving and caring for the women, the mothers on the earth, but Mother Earth itself. We have to approach everything with honor, love, and respect. And so that training led me to follow a more spiritual path. So I know the nuns wanted to make a priest out of me, and I had to learn a whole Mass in Latin and be an altar boy and serve, get up every morning early in the morning and serve the priests in the Mass. And I had to go through all that, but it actually, I decided that I would make the best use of it. I didn't really, it was very foreign to me, the whole thing. How can you program people to think everybody's the same? We're all different. We all have different brains, thank heavens. Makes the world a very interesting place. We all have amazing brains where each brain is different. And each brain is not the same, so how can we all think the same? We can't. We're all different, thank heavens, because that makes the world a very interesting place to be in.
And part of this discovery too, I'm fascinated by how it was also a discovery of an architectural form for yourself. And can you walk us through, a little bit about your definition of architecture? I remember a few months back, you told me that you saw Western architecture as primarily about power and control. What do you mean by that? And how is that different?
Yeah, well, in the West way of thinking, and that's one way of thinking. All thinking is good. All ways are good. There's only good in a crooked good that needs to be straightened out. And that's the way my elders taught me, that all knowledge is good, even bad knowledge, because it teaches you what not to do. And So I really learned a lot about what not to do in my field of architecture, because we have a real problem on this planet, because we have this attitude, in the West has this attitude that we're dominion over nature. How can you be dominion over nature when you are nature? You're one of the highest forms of life, because we not only are creatures, mammals, but we have this tremendous gift of creativity that we have evolved. And that's a unique and powerful gift. And it's something the elders were saying, that we have to use our creativity in a good way. We have this gift of creativity. And creativity is defined by creating something from nothing. So they told me that in the Creator created all of knowledge, but what man has got in his head is only knowledge that he's learned through his lifetime. But the Creator, he said, can hold all of man's knowledge that we have up till now in the palm of his hand. That's what we know, and that's what we don't know. But that is not where creativity comes from. Creativity actually comes outside of what is known, because that's the definition of creativity. So from the edge of the Creator's fingers to the edge of space, that's what we don't know, we don't even know. And they said that's where creativity comes from. The land of what you don't know, you don't even know. It has to be created. So don't stick in what you know. Go out there, what you don't know, you don't even know. That's where true creativity is. That's the land of the eagle. That's where the power lies, not in what you know, but what you don't know, you don't even know. So that's what you got to seek. And that's creativity. The rest has already been created. That's, in a sense, dead knowledge. It's already been created.
Yeah, how beautifully confounding way of putting that. I'm trying to. My question is then, how do you, put this thought into your architecture, into your design?
Well, one of the things is that who is the design for? It's for the people. It's for the environment. Like right now, what I saw when I was growing up, when we were destroying our environment. In the West, we polluted all the waters, and we've cut down all the trees, and we've shot a lot of the wildlife that should be feeding us, and we've literally destroying life as a way of being. We are actually almost like cancerous growths on this planet, where everything we see, we look at it and how can we use this? How can we use this for our gain and our well-being? We're not thinking about what we're doing to life itself on this planet. We're not thinking of how we're treating life as a whole. And yet we want to go out to other universes and bring our knowledge outside our own planet. We haven't even solved the problems on this planet. I don't think the Creator will think he or she would help us go to another planet, given the fact that we're so damn dumb.
Right.
You know, it takes, we're as dumb as the virus, a cancer virus, you know, that kills its own host and then really has trouble surviving.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, I sometimes think about your architecture as a form of resistance as well. In one of your books of the spirit from the 60s, you talked about how the rectilinear form is this kind of a symbol of Western architecture, of control and power. And I think of the way that you use curvilinear forms as a way to resist that. It's also a way to connect to the sacred feminine, as you say.
Yes, because in our culture, and I'm talking about in our culture, the women are sacred because they bring life into the world. And life is connected with the water because all life came from water, from the vents in the earth that come through the water and create all life, and then they went on the land and started evolving all forms of life, including, in the beginning, of course, the dinosaurs and everything. But we, as small mammals, evolved into first mammals and birds and fish and human beings. We're a product of nature. We evolved from nature. How can we consider ourselves as dominion over nature? You know, we're a small part of nature. And actually the part that's really interfering with all life on this planet right now. We're acting like a virus, you know? So how can we change our way of thinking?
Yeah, I mean, so as you know, the work we do at the Ambasz Institute has been really to understand the fraught relationship between the built and natural world, architecture and nature. Maybe to close, you can, give us a few words about your thoughts about today's relationship between architecture and nature.
Well, I feel that we must follow the teachings of people that know about nature and how to live in harmony with nature. And so, although I went to university in Texas and I learned about my culture in Texas, if you can imagine this, I had to go to a school of anthropology to learn about my culture and know. Thank heavens, the professor actually got his PhD from living with the Blackfoot people. So when I walked in the classroom, he said, "Oh, we have a Blackfoot in our classroom." I'm looking around. Where? And they said, "You." And I go, "Yeah, but how do you know?" "Well, I'm an anthropologist. I can tell by your stature, your bone structure, your way of look, your hands, for example, with your long fingers, and you probably got long toes. You're a Blackfoot from Montana." "No, I'm not from Montana. I'm from Alberta, just north of Montana." But we're the same people, you know. We just came to the Canadian border to get away from Custer, you know. But Custer wasn't too bright, you know. He decided to take on the Sioux, and you know, we know the Sioux. We always had to deal with the Sioux, and that's why we were. But then we got together, and we realized, you know, as Indigenous people, wolves actually even were more intelligent than we were, because what we were was we were at war with each other. The Sioux and the Blackfoot were at wars with each other all the time. The Sioux like to come up and steal our women and our horses and our cattle, and we would have to defend ourselves. So we were always at war with each other, except the grandmothers got together on both sides, and then they said, you know, this is a terrible waste of manhood, where all the men are being killed. Look, what a waste of good men. And they said, let's put a stop to this. Well, they thought, well, how are we going to do this? Well, let's not kill each other anymore. Let's do like the wolves do. What do the wolves do? Well, they're more intelligent. The wolves won't kill their own species. Most animals don't kill their own species for territory, you know. Only human beings do, kill each other for territory. I mean, we haven't learned much, have we?
No, but I think on that note, you know, learning from the non-human kind of civilizations around us is a great note to end on. And thank you for reminding us that, you know, architecture, thinking about architecture is also a way of thinking about how we live on this planet, how we continue to think about living on this planet. So thank you very much for that.